My name is Elena Hart, 29 program coordinator at a community health nonprofit, and tonight I'm 17 minutes late to the first dinner with my fiance's father, the man people whisper about, like he's a storm with a last name. I can still feel the emptiness in my tote, where my lunch used to be, and the ghost of warmth around my neck, where a cashmere scarf used to sit. The scarf is somewhere else now, wrapped around a stranger I met on a park bench outside the train station, in a town where hedges are taller than secrets. The butler's shoes barely make a sound as he leads me through a gallery of oil portraits that keep their eyes on me. He doesn't look back to see if I'm following. He already knows I am. At the end of the corridor, a pair of doors the color of old bourbon opens like a verdict. Beyond them waits a dining room so long it might have weather patterns of its own. A chandelier the size of a compact car suspended over a table, polished to a darker mirror than I'm ready for. Noah Whitaker. Noah stops whispering instructions when he realizes I'm no longer listening. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm trying to breathe. At the far end of the table sits one man in a high-backed chair, a single-place setting before him, a glass of water shining like a warning. He doesn't rise. He doesn't need to. The room curtsies around him. I take one step over the threshold, and the air shifts. The man lifts a hand, slow and unhurried, to settle something at his collar. That's when the blood leaves my face. Draped over his shoulders, but none as a secret, and unmistakably mine, is the scarf I gave a shivering stranger less than an hour ago. I hear Noah say father, like a question and a prayer tangled together. Graham Whitaker, the reclusive billionaire who owns the house. The land and the rumor that he doesn't believe in small talk turns his gaze on me. His eyes are a blue I recognize from the park bench, the kind that measure and forgive in the same breath. The memory of a paper-wrapped sandwich passes between us like contraband kindness. Ms. Hart, he says, his voice rasping just enough to prove he's mortal. Thank you for the warmth. The chandelier hums. Noah's hand tightens on my elbow. I realize the test I thought I failed may not be the test at all. The train slid out of the city, and with every mile, the skyline shrank behind me. I pressed my palms against the tote on my lap, feeling the square shape of the sandwich I'd made that morning. It was supposed to settle my nerves somewhere between the station and the Whitaker estate, but my stomach had been a knot since sunrise. Noah's voice kept looping in my head. Don't be late. Don't mention your job. Don't bring up your family. And for God's sake, wear the scarf. The scarf, light gray cashmere, soft as mist, rested against my collarbone like an instruction. It was more than an accessory. It was Noah's insurance policy proof to his father that I belonged at a table I'd never imagined sitting at. When the train screeched into Riverton, the platform was nearly empty. A cab idled at the curb, driver tapping his meter. I hesitated, then shook my head. I needed air. I needed to walk. The mansion was barely a mile away, and I told myself the exercise would help me breathe. The streets grew quiet within minutes, lined with hedges so tall they turned sidewalks into tunnels. Each house I passed seemed designed to whisper, "You don't belong here." I checked the time, just enough cushion if I kept pace. I lengthened my stride, heels clicking against stone. That's when I saw him. An older man hunched on a park bench where the manicured green met the road. His jacket was thin, his hands red at the knuckles, his face worn with lines that looked permanent. He wasn't supposed to exist here, not in a town polished to perfection. Yet there he was, shivering. I slowed, Noah's warnings pounding in my ears. Don't get distracted. Don't risk being late. My hand touched the tote. The sandwich was still there, wrapped in paper. I glanced at the man again. His eyes were blue, startlingly clear, but tired in a way that went deeper than hunger. I sat at the far end of the bench. "Hi," I said softly. "Are you all right?" He turned, voice rough but steady. "Just cold. Missed the shelter meal today." My fingers tightened on the sandwich. It was all I had, but keeping it felt wrong. I pulled it from the tote and held it out. "Here. It's not much." He studied me, then the food. Finally, with a nod, he accepted it. "Thank you," he murmured, like the words weighed something. The wind picked up sharp against my throat. I reached for the scarf before hesitation could stop me. Slipping it from my neck, I draped it over his shoulders. The gray fabric collapsed against the worn jacket, out of place, yet exactly right. His eyes lifted to mine. "You'll be cold. I'll manage." For a moment, we simply looked at each other. Not rich and poor, not guest and stranger, just two people sharing something fragile. Then reality rushed back. My phone buzzed. I was running out of time. I stood quickly, heart racing. "Take care," I said, and left before he could answer. By the time the Whitaker gates appeared, my lungs burned. Iron bars twisted into elegant shapes framed the golden W at the center. I pressed the intercom button, forcing my voice steady. "Elena Hart here to see Mr. Whitaker." A pause stretched cold and deliberate before the gates creaked open. The driveway curved through towering oaks until the mansion emerged stone and windows stacked in symmetry, beautiful in a way that felt more like intimidation than art. On the steps, Noah paced phone in hand. His eyes locked on me, then darted to my bare neck. "Where's the scarf?" he hissed, rushing down. I caught my breath. I gave it to someone who needed it. His face hardened. "Do you realize what you've done? That was the one thing, Elena, he'll judge you before you even open your mouth." I straightened, pulse still thundering from the run. "Then let him." The front doors swung open, a butler framed in the light face unreadable. "Mr. Whitaker will see you now." Noah gripped my arm, whispering frantic instructions, but his words barely landed. All I felt was the cool air against my throat, the weight of absence where the scarf had been. I had already chosen who I wanted to be, and there was no undoing it now. The butler ushers us into a foyer, big enough to host a wedding, though it feels more like a cathedral designed for silence. My heels tap against marble squares that shine like frozen water. The ceiling is high enough to echo the sound of my breath, and the air is so cool I want to rub my arms for warmth, but resist because Noah's hand is locked around mine, guiding me as if I might step wrong without him. His grip is clammy, urgent, like he's trying to transmit a warning through my skin. "Don't mention your work," he whispers, lips hardly moving. "If he asks, say you're between positions. And please, lean a smile. Not too wide, controlled." The advice pelts me like hail. I nod, but my chest tightens. My scarf is gone, my hair frizzed from the wind, my lipstick fading because I bit it on the walk here. I've already failed his test, maybe both tests. I wish for 1 second I was back on the park bench, sharing quiet with the man who thanked me for warmth. The butler stops at a pair of heavy doors and waits. Noah squeezes my hand again harder. His jaw moves, whispering frantic rehearsals. No politics, no charity talk, remember to compliment the wine. I barely hear him. My stomach is a stone dropping through water. The doors swing open, and a corridor stretches beyond, lined with sconces and paintings of men in suits staring out like they expect to be obeyed. The butler guides us toward a dining hall that glimmers at the far end like a mirage. Each step feels heavier than the last. I picture the scarf around the stranger's shoulders, the sandwich disappearing bite by bite. A wave of doubt crashes. What if Noah is right? What if kindness was a mistake? The thought makes me sick. If I regret compassion, then what's left of me? Noah leans close as we walk. Whatever you do, don't bring up lateness. Let me explain it. He'll respect authority in the narrative. Trust me. His words are clipped, rehearsed like lines for a play. I glance at him, at the sharp suit, the perfect tie, the way his mouth trembles at the edges. For the first time, he doesn't look like my fiancé. He looks like a boy walking into detention. The butler pauses before the dining room doors, the largest yet. He clears his throat. "Mr. Whitaker will see you now." His voice is dry as chalk. Noah straightens, pulling me into alignment beside him. His free hand smooths his lapel with a motion that borders on desperate. The doors open onto a room that swallows sound. A table runs nearly the entire length, dark mahogany, reflecting the chandelier above. Crystal glasses glitter in the dim light, silver cutlery aligned with surgical precision. At the far end, one place setting waits solitary. The man occupying the chair doesn't rise. He sits like a king accustomed to audiences traveling the distance to him. For a heartbeat, I see only his silhouette, shoulders slightly hunched, head tilted, as though caught in thought. Noah releases my hand to step forward. His voice cracks, but he forces control. Father. Just one word sharp with need and fear. The man's face turns toward us, and the light catches. My throat closes. The scarf, the pale gray cashmere I gave away not an hour ago, is draped neatly around his shoulders. His eyes, the same intelligent blue I saw on the park bench, find mine without hesitation. Recognition blooms between us like fire catching paper. My knees nearly buckle. It is him. The stranger, the man who ate my sandwich with careful gratitude, sits at the head of this empire's table. Noah hasn't noticed yet. He's too busy arranging his features into an expression of dutiful respect. He bows his head slightly, waiting for approval that doesn't come. The silence stretches until Noah falters and looks up. Then he sees the scarf, the worn lines of the man's face, the eyes locked not on him but me. Color drains from him so fast he looks translucent. Dad, his voice wavers, stripped of its practiced calm. What are you wearing? Are you feeling well? The man, Graham Whitaker, ignores him completely. His gaze doesn't shift from me, and then to my shock, a smile touches his lips. Not mocking, not cruel. Warm, familiar. The same smile from the park bench. Elena Hart, he says, voice rough as stone, yet carrying across the vast room. Please come in. The butler gestures toward chairs halfway down the table. Noah grabs my elbow to steer me, but his grip trembles now. He leans close, hissing, say nothing about the bench, nothing about the scarf. Pretend you don't recognize him. His panic pours into me like ice water. But it's too late. Graham has already spoken again. I apologize for my earlier appearance. An old habit of mine, you might say. A way of testing character. His words slice through the quiet, directed at me, but meant for Noah too. I sink into a chair, pulse drumming in my ears. Noah sits beside me, posture stiff, hands gripping his knees. Graham gestures subtly, and a servant glides forward, with wine filling our glasses without sound. Noah's glass overflows a drop, and he flinches as though struck. Graham chuckles softly, the sound more genuine than I expect. Character, he repeats, swirling his glass. It reveals itself not in comfort, but in inconvenience. Tell me, Ms. Hart, how do you measure a person when no one of consequence is watching? I open my mouth, but Noah cuts in, voice brittle. Father, perhaps we can discuss the merger first. Silence. Graham's command is calm but absolute. Noah folds instantly, eyes dropping. The humiliation in his posture stings me, but I can't rescue him. My gaze returns to Graham, whose eyes gleam like someone who's already read the ending of a book. I find my voice quiet but steady. I think you measure a person by whether they stop, whether they see someone sitting alone on a bench and choose to act. The room holds its breath. Graham's smile deepens and he lifts the scarf, slightly fingertips, brushing the fabric. Then we agree. He sets it back against his chest with reverence. We agree entirely. The chandelier hums overhead as though the house itself approves. Noah stares at the tablecloth, shoulders hunched. My heart races not from fear anymore, but from the dawning realization that I have just passed a test I didn't know I was taking, and Noah, the man I came here to support, may already have failed. The first course arrives on a silver cart pushed by a server who moves like a shadow, trained in choreography. Small porcelain bowls appear before us, steam curling with the scent of roasted chestnut. I pick up my spoon carefully, but Graham doesn't touch his. He rests both hands on the table, long fingers steady the scarf draped like a medal. His eyes never leave mine. Noah, he says at last, tone sharp enough to cut porcelain. Do you know what surprised me most when you walked through that door? Noah straightens, grasping for composure. That we came at all, Father. That we honored your invitation. No, Graham replies, his voice a slow blade. That you did not notice what was right before you. That you looked at your fiancé and saw lateness, imperfection, embarrassment. You did not see courage or kindness or the simple act of humanity that your mother once told me mattered above all else. His words sliced through the air, deliberate, undeniable. I freeze spoon halfway to my mouth. Noah's eyes widen, then fall. I didn't know, he murmurs. His voice cracks thin as a boy's. You thought wrong, Graham interrupts. You thought survival in my world meant mimicry. Dress the part, speak the part, never falter. But I built my world from nothing, Noah. Not from silk ties and punctuality, from grit, from choosing compassion when no one else would. And here sits the woman who understands that better than you. The silence is dense, thick enough to hear the tick of a grandfather clock 2 rooms away. I want to reach for Noah's hand, but his knuckles are white where they clutch his lap. He looks so small beneath the weight of his father's gaze. Graham turns back to me, his eyes softening. You gave up food, you needed comfort, you were told to display, all to a man you thought could give you nothing. Tell me, Elena, why I swallow throat dry. Because he looked cold. Because hunger is hunger, no matter what clothes someone wears. And because I couldn't walk past and call myself the person and I believe I am. A slow smile spreads across his face, and for the first time, the stern portraits lining the walls feel less oppressive. Precisely. That is what wealth should mean, the freedom to act with kindness. Without it, money is dust. Noah shifts words tumbling out. Father, please don't dismiss me. I only wanted to protect what matters to you. Your standards, your legacy. Graham's eyes narrow. Legacy. My legacy is not a company or a portfolio. It is what survives when money burns and names fade. It is character. And tonight, Elena carried it here, not you. The bowls are cleared, untouched by Graham. A heavier plate follows roasted lamb potatoes lacquered with butter. The scent fills the cavernous room, but appetite is scarce. Noah eats mechanically, as though each bite might erase humiliation. I nibble, because politeness is armor. Graham drinks water and watches us both like a judge gathering evidence. Halfway through the course, he leans back. Do you know why I vanished from public life a decade ago? His gaze flicks between us, pausing on Noah's pale face. Noah shakes his head. People said you were tired of the spotlight. They said many things. Graham replies, voice lowering. The truth is simpler. I grew sick of men who wore masks of competence and charm, but failed every unseen test of decency. I wanted to know if anyone remained who could not be bought. So I tested. CEOs, heirs, ambitious politicians. They all performed as you might expect, but not one offered a shred of real humanity when stripped of audience. Until today. His eyes settle on me again. My pulse races, but not from fear, from awe and something else, responsibility. You are not meant to impress me with your resume or attire, Elena. You were meant to reveal yourself when no one important seemed to be watching. And you did. Noah pushes his plate away, face ashen. So I failed. You've exposed yourself. Graham corrects tone, unflinching. Failure can teach, but it can also destroy if pride wins. I glance at Noah, torn. The man I love is unraveling before me, shame stripping him bare. And yet, I see in him the boy who once confessed his nightmares, who held me when rent was late, who wanted so badly to make me proud. My heart aches for both father and son, locked in a duel of values neither knows how to end. Dessert arrives, dark chocolate tartlets that look sculpted rather than baked. Graham finally takes a bite, deliberate savoring. He dabs the corner of his mouth with linen, then lifts the scarf from his shoulders. Folding it with care, he slides it across the polished table toward me. This belongs with you. Thank you for letting it warm me. I touch the fabric, still carrying his body heat, and feel a lump rise in my throat. You don't have to. I insist. He interrupts, gentle now. Because it means something different in your hands than in mine. When the final plate is cleared, Graham rises, surprisingly graceful and for his age. He rests one hand on my shoulder, steady grounding. Elena, you will be family. That much is settled. As for you, Noah, his voice trails, then steadies with iron. If you are wise, you will learn from tonight and become a man worthy of the woman beside you. Noah's breath stutters. His eyes glisten, and for the first time since I've known him, he looks like he might break open and spill everything unsaid. Graham leaves us with the butler who opens the door once more, to silence and cold air. We step outside together, but nothing feels the same. The estate looms behind us, windows glowing like judgment. Noah doesn't speak until we reach the car. His hands tremble as he grips the wheel. The engine hums a sound too steady for the storm inside us. Finally, he says, voice raw, I ruined it. I ruined everything. I stare at the scarf in my lap, fingers curled into softness. No, I answer quietly. You are just seen for who you are. Now the choice is yours, whether you stay that person or change. The drive back into the city is heavy with silence broken only by the occasional turn signal, clicking like a metronome, measuring shame. Noah keeps his eyes on the road, jaw locked. I don't push. Some silences are tourniquets they hold until the bleeding slows. When we finally reach our apartment, the lights are dim, the radiator clanking awake. Noah drops his keys on the counter and sinks onto the sofa, shoulders caving inward. His hands cover his face. For a long time he doesn't speak, and then all at once he does. I'm sorry, he whispers, voice shredded. Not just for tonight. For every time I tried to shape you into what I thought my father wanted. For making you feel small when all I ever wanted was for you to be safe beside me. I thought approval was survival. I didn't know it was a cage. His words tumble out raw, unguarded. I sit beside him and place the scarf across both our laps. He looks at it as though it's a relic, then at me, eyes wet. You saved me tonight, Lena. You showed him what I couldn't. You showed me. I reach for his hand, and this time he lets me hold it. For the first time in months, his grip isn't frantic, it's searching. I don't tell him it's fixed. Nothing changes overnight, but for the first time, I believe he might grow into the man he's supposed to be. 3 months later, in the backyard garden of my parents' modest house, we say our vows beneath strings of lights and the scent of lilacs. There's no country club, no orchestra, just friends and family, and a potluck table that groans with casseroles. And there, in the front row, sits Graham Whitaker in a perfectly tailored suit, the pale gray scarf draped across his shoulders like a badge of honor. When I catch his eye, he smiles the same smile from the park bench, the smile that started everything. And I realize this isn't just a story about wealth or family legacy. It's about the invisible test we don't know we're taking, the moments when no audience watches, when we decide who we are. I chose kindness once on a bench under a maple tree. That choice rewrote my life. And if there's any truth, I'll carry forward into every day of marriage, into every future. I build, its this worth is never measured by fortune, timing, or appearance. It is measured by how you treat the person no one else sees. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy these family drama and revenge stories, please subscribe and join me for more every day.